Good evening, learners. So for today's lesson is to look at functions and to determine whether something is a function or whether it's a relation. And I have two activities here for you guys to complete and see whether either of these two are a function or a relation. So let's start with the first one. Given here are four coordinates, 2 and 3, 5 and 4, 0 and 3, 4 and 1. And the first thing we need to determine or identify is the domain and the range for these coordinates. Keep in mind that your coordinates is written in the sequence x and y. So every first value in your coordinate will be an x value and every second number will be a y value. So my domain will be all my x values, and please remember not to repeat the same value. So if I look at my x values, I have 2, I have 5, I have 0 and I have 4. Now none of these are the same, so you write them out as is, but in ascending order. So that's 0, 2, 4 and 5. I hope that's clear. Let's look at the y values, which is your range. Again, do not repeat the same value. So if I look at my y values, I see there's a 3, there's a 4, there's a 3 and there's a 1. I can clearly see the 3 is being repeated. So if I write my y values down in ascending order, it's going to be 1, 3 and 4. Okay, I hope that's clear. Now what we need to do here now, guys, is we need to put our values in this diagram, and this diagram will tell us whether it is a function or whether it is a relation. So let us plot our x values first. So my first x value would be 0, my second x value would be 2, my third x value would be 4, and my last x value here would be 5. Alright, so now I have all my x values in that sequence, and for my y I'm going to use these values in that order. So this is going to be 1, this is going to be 3, and this is going to be 4. Okay, so those are the values, my y values for the range. So next thing I need to do now is I'm going to use my arrows and I'm going to join up my coordinates. So if from 0 I see that 0 and 3. 0 and 3 is a coordinate, so it's going to be 0 and 3, like that. Okay? And then I see 2 and 3 is a coordinate, so it's going to be 2 and 3, like that. Okay? And then I also see that 4 and 1 is a coordinate. It's going to look like that. And then I see that 5 and 4 is a coordinate, and it looks like that. What you will notice here is that none of these values are repeated. 3 is repeated here. So in this instance, and this is what you're looking for, learners, when no value is being repeated here, then this is a function. That's how I identify a function. Okay, let's go to the next example. Right? So activity 2, keep in mind that no values has been repeated for the x values. Keep that in mind. Right? So the next coordinate, again, learners, in the form x and y is 3 minus 1, 2 minus 1, 0 and 2, 2 and 1. So when I take out all my x values, keep in mind there are two 2's. So I only write two 1s, ascending order. And then I look at my range, learners. I'm going to go a bit fast here. My range, and the range is minus 2, minus 1, 1 and 2. So again, in the same order, learners, I'm going to select my x values that correspond with these x values there. So it's going to be 0. It's going to be 2. And then it's going to be 3. Right? Okay, so these are my x values, learners, and now I'm going to put my y values in my graph, my table. So it's going to be negative 2, it's going to be negative 1, it's going to be 0, 1, and then the last one is going to be 2. Alright, so these are my values, and so I now need to go and pair them up. Keep in mind, you're looking, if any numbers here are going to be repeated, then it's a relation. But if they are not going to be repeated, then it's a function. Okay? So if you see it, I would like you to call it out for yourself so you can just conceptualize it. So it's going to be 0 and 2. So there's going to be that pair there. Okay. Then it's going to be 2 and minus 2. It's going to be that there. And it's going to be 2 and 1. And then it's going to be 3 and minus 1. Now, please take a look, learners. Can you see if any of these x values are being repeated? I can see there's a 2 and a minus 2, and it's a 2 and a minus and a 1, meaning that 2 is being repeated. So therefore this will not be a function, and this would then be a relation. So how do we summarize this? Let's have a look how we summarize this, because there's a summary to it. Okay. So the groupings, okay, in your table, learners, we call them the sets, and the sets have different names. So when you have a one-to-one set, learners, we call this a function because no x value is being repeated here. So this would be a function. Okay. If I look at the second one here, we call this table set many to one. In other words, the y values are being repeated, but not the x values. So for this, we will have two coordinates. It's going to be 1 and 1, and it's going to be minus 1 and 1. So x is not being repeated. Y is being repeated, but because of the fact that x is not repeated, it is a function. Okay, let's have a look here, learners. Can you see any similarities between these two here? I hope you notice that from the 2 to the minus 2 and 2 to 1. I hope you notice that, then, because it's the same, exact same thing happening here. Okay, there I can see it's 1 and 1 is a coordinate, and 1 and minus 1 is a coordinate. So the 1 is being repeated. So again, learners, when your x values are being repeated, we call this a relation. So this is not a function, this is a relation. So there's a test that we call the vertical line test. So the vertical line test, I will now conduct that with you guys so you can clearly see what I am talking about. Right. So let's have a look at this here. Let me get my line out here. Okay. So what I want you guys to focus on now, when I'm going to move the line across my graph from left to right, and I want you to pay careful attention to how the line cuts the graph. Okay. If it cuts the graph at only one point, it means it is a function. But as soon as it cuts the graph at more than one point, it means it is a relation, not a function. Let's have a look here, learners. If I move this line across here, I can see it cuts it at 1 point, 1 point. But as soon as I move here, I can now see it cuts this graph at 3 points. There's a point, and there's a point, learners. So it's 1 point there, there's a point there, there's a point there, 3 points. If I move it further across, I see it still cuts at 3 points. There's a point there, there's a point there, and there's a point there, learners. So therefore, this is not a function, this is a relation. So because it cuts at 3 points, right? Let's move up. Next one. Again, your focus is on the line. See if the line cuts the graph at 2 points. Let's have a look. I move it over. I'm happy. 1 point. I'm happy. I'm happy. You can see there. It's 1 point there. I'm very happy. Moving 1 point there. It's 1 point there. I'm very happy. It's 1 point there. 1, 1, 1, 1. Very happy. This would be an example of a function. Next one. Okay. Let's have a look at this one here. Right. So these dots here, learners, if you have to link them up, you're going to get type of a curve there, which will represent a graph. So there's nothing here, so I can't take this into consideration. But let's go up. I touch that one there, nice. That one there, nice, beautiful, beautiful. Up. Here I have a problem because now I'm touching it at 1, 2, 3 points there. So that will tell me that this is not a function. Right. So let's look at the one here on top, the line graph. Okay. Let's move the vertical, do the vertical test. If it touches at 1 point, it passes. If more than one, it fails the vertical test. Moving, passes, pass, 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 it passes, it passes, it passes, pass, pass, right? That's a function. And that's how you use the vertical test to determine when something is a function. Learners, I hope that's clear.